Hello, guys. I'm just making dinner here, having a brew, and something came to my mind that I thought, well, I might as well do a little talk on this since, well, I'm wasting time standing around waiting for water to boil and so on. You know, the left often, especially now with all this, police brutality stuff coming out around certain black people being killed by the police. They're very anti-cop, right? Or they've taken that position recently, and the the anarcho-communists and communists and stuff are generally anti-cop, or at least anti what they would call bourgeois police. However, it's sort of reached a boiling point now where just all the left in general is just very anti-police. But this brings up a contradiction, which is that they are anti-cop, but for most of the left, and I'm not talking about the revolutionary left because they are typically pro-gun, except only pro-gun for people who agree with them. Another problem, a glaring problem, but the left in general, the sort of soft liberal left, is anti-gun. So, in essence, what they're saying is the police are horrible, the government is, horrible because they're the ones in charge of the police, but we don't think individuals should have guns. We only think police should have guns. So we're in favor of the people that we hate having all the guns. This is, at present, the current liberal lefty position. They hate the state, they hate the police, but they also think that these are the only legitimate bodies that should be have access to guns. You can see the contradiction here, of course. You're not an idiot. I've tried to point out this contradiction to several people I know who hold this position, and they don't deny it's a contradiction. All they do is come back and saying guns are evil. If we allow people to have guns, then everyone will just be, killing each other on the streets, etc. So again, it comes down to this thing where even though they claim that they hate the police and the police are bad, they still think the police are better than your average everyday person. Because according, in their minds, I guess, if you're just an average Joe or an average Jane and you own a weapon or a firearm, which may be classified as a tool depending on how you look at it and what your intended purpose of it is and so on. If you own a gun, you're just a regular person, well, you're bound to just go out and start shooting people, aren't you? And then they bring up all the mass shootings that's ever happened. And they say, look, see, that's because people own guns. Well, no. That's actually because people do not own guns. If people own guns and were actually carrying the guns, and someone tried to pull off a mass shooting, well, you might get 1 or 2 or 3 if he's lucky, or she. But then the other armed people will then fight back and kill them or wound them, incapacitate them, etc. So, you wouldn't have a mass shooting occurring because other armed people, and we're here assuming that in most situations, people are not murderous, ravenous people, but just everyday people looking out for each other and looking out for themselves and their families. And they're not going to be going on murderous rampages because that's only what psychopaths do. That's not what everyone does. But in the left's mind, they just do not trust the individual. They do not trust people. Even though they claim to love people and want to do everything to make society such a great place for everyone, at the basis of their feelings, like in the depth of their heart, they just do not trust people. And that is why they don't want people to have guns. Because they think everyone in society could just be a potential mass murderer. And that if everyone had guns, it would just look like some sort of Mad Max movie or something.